Hey guys, and welcome to an overdue Celsius update. So in case you guys are curious, I've taken a little bit of a break for this one for the holidays, and I also did have one of my uncles go and pass away. We had a little bit of a lot of stuff going on with this one. But when it does come with the Celsius updates, I kind of keep on seeing like misinformation or people not doing a little bit of deeper dives into some stuff. There's also a lot of really good people out there who are helping on Twitter, on YouTube, etc. But I kind of figured for me, especially on like say Reddit and other various sources, we haven't seen as much still, so I'm going to try my best to get back in the groove, because there's just a lot of stuff and a lot of moving motion. So if I can help you guys out, especially because I'm a creditor myself, I feel like I might as well. So obviously with that one, if you guys want to subscribe or even put on notifications on the channel itself, feel free to, and I would love to go and give you guys some more updates. So today we had a really big, basically internal like jury slash debate slash hearing with Keyfi and also with Alex Mashinsky, who has actually finally made his way onto the stand itself. And there was a lot of information that came out, and it was kind of mediocre. We're probably going to have another hearing tomorrow, so if anything kind of big happens, I'll let you guys know, either on a Reddit post or whatever. But basically, a lot of stuff has happened too when it comes to the claims, when it comes to the sales, so let's go and talk about that. So very first and foremost, the kind of the big news as of today is that the Examiner did go and follow up a brand new motion to extend their final report. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit upset about this, and I'm a little bit upset about all the other extensions, mainly because for me, and I know a lot of folks out there, are trying to figure out their claim forms. A lot of folks want to use this for the examiner's report to kind of use that as a reference. And well, with it now once again being delayed another 13 days, they want to go and file it to be extended by January 30th, which is at least nice because it's still before the claim deadline. I could go and tell you guys, there could be a lot of people clamoring and trying to go through the documents, and it does take time to go through the document. Now, not to go and fully blame the examiner, because they were saying that people involved in terms of interviews and other documents were taking a long time to get to them, and then when they did go get other documents too as well, it just took a very, very long time. It's like thousands of pages, etc. I'd probably say more blame on the Celsius for being ran so poorly, or as well trying to withhold information. But like I said, it's really annoying that it keeps on getting delayed, with all three major things being delayed. So if you guys also missed it, claim forms are now officially done and all set for February 9th. So as we have this new report that comes out, that'll give us another 9 days if you would like to go and file a claim, depending on what they actually go and showcase in this huge examiner's report. And as well, if you guys did also miss it too, there was also a now notice that they did change the sale date as well. So pretty much all big major things have been delayed. I'm okay with the claim forms, but when it comes to the modified dates, we now have the sale hearing on the February 1st for their auction, and then they basically have like about 2 weeks to go through if there's any objections, or if it has to be delayed more, or if there's multiple days of hearings. And then they also have the sale hearing then on February 15th. So kind of like a little bit of a tight, like February 1st, for the, let's just use February 1st as like it's January 30th anyway, but February 1st for, let's say, the examiner report, the 9th for the claim filing, and then the 1st over here for the auction for retail stuff. So just a lot of stuff's gonna be coming out throughout the next, like that little 2-week period. It's all very big things for the case in terms of how much money we might get back, how we actually might be selling the assets, if they're actually worth any money, and all of that. But one of the bigger things too is today we had a really big thing when it comes to the Keyfi. Now, Keyfi was a subsidiary of Celsius, where basically some person, as the information as of today, got like 10% of the customer assets to invest into random various things. And a lot of the things we are seeing is that there was NFTs involved, there was almost basically fraud involved. It was just awful. And as of right now, there could be potentially still hundreds of millions of dollars that we don't necessarily know where it's at. And that's what these big hearings are for. There'll be another one tomorrow. So basically, Jason Stone basically tried to also claim that Celsius was a Ponzi, and as well that he had like undocumented proof that he was supposed to be getting paid like a cut of this money. That's kind of a rough deal. So I'm going to kind of go through Simon's tweets over here, because he had a pretty good live capture with it, basically saying, they're basically saying that Jason Stone, Keyfi, claimed that he was authorized to take assets by Alex, is basically all like, they're allowed, he's contracted, he's supposed to be investing this money, but at the same time, Alex is basically trying to call him a money launderer and arguing that he should not be allowed to use the money he stole to also go and use his defenses, which I also would agree on depending on the contract. Like, I'm not like an Alex stan over here, but this guy seems like he stole money, laundered money, used Tornado Cash, stole assets after the contract was done, also had basically no proof of these contracts too. Like, in terms of legal, like, I wouldn't almost want to trust someone against Alex itself just because, like, you know, with the situation, but there is basically no good legal documents and statements and contracts. They're saying that Celsius didn't like using paper. They're like all these really, really kind of not good statements. And when you even have someone like an Alex trying to go call you like a money launderer, like that's That's like the devil calling you like Satan. You know, it's not good. So basically they argue that they never hit anything. They try to go tweet about it publicly, you know, with Keyfi, etc. And they mention all this type of stuff. There's also a big thing too that basically they transferred assets out of after his resignation. So there also was another thing too. Or basically we had other people as a witness, and they're saying they never authorized purchases of these NFTs. And the NFT was a really big thing, saying where he's trying to say like, hey, like we were allowed, or like we're about to invest in all this. And then basically Alex Mashinsky was trying to say, hey, we just never even saw, like you never gave us proper reports. You never let us go and see these assets. And like, how are we supposed to know that you're just buying these on the chain? Where if you're like, hey, I bought something for 100 Ethereum, sure, but like, what did you buy? And like, apparently there's a lot of crypto punks and stuff like that, which is also maybe bad for returns because a lot of those assets are not worth as much. So basically, the lawyers were trying to go get Alex to like basically agree that Stone had the rights to keep compensation assets. Alex was stating that it required authorization of the board to be compensated for it, and arguing that transfer to Keyfi from Celsius was performed on August 2022 or 2020 before they even had something signed with them. So they also said as well that there was transfers for Keyfi prior to the APA. They had a 22 million in August, 54 million in September, 81 in October, 107 in November, and it was basically signed on December 2020. So off that just alone, that looks like that's around like 70 million, 150 million, around $260 million. Alex is also trying to argue that values are not as of the date of the transactions, but Stone's lawyers providing an email from Alex speaking about a $20 million payment. Alex saying he thought about things in terms of coin transfers instead of dollar amounts. So also Stone's lawyers presented an email by Alex referring to a $1.4 billion value under Keyfi's control. Alex was also evasive too as well, and Alex was also on stage, and he was very, very, from everyone who saw it, talking on Telegram or Twitter, he was just very much trying to avoid questions, not trying to go anything for Ponzi talk and everything else, just trying to protect himself the best he can. So Stone's lawyers are trying to go and pin Alex to whether he was aware of these NFT transfers, and they basically kept on saying that they didn't have a UI to show these NFTs, so basically didn't really know. As well too as even the judge, at least from Simon's call, was very noted with Stone's lawyers' testimonies on the documents too. Also, this line of questioning looked like these NFTs were being purchased without actual like authorization, and all these tools didn't make it obvious that he was even seeing this. And apparently as well, we finally got Chrissy involved, is Alex's wife, that she was also apparently paid for 2 NFTs for investigation work somehow. So now it does go and show on record that she was involved somewhat with that too as well. Now, when it comes to questioning too, because a lot of these exhibits like weren't even being shown, and this was like a really long court case too. This was all day and also for tomorrow too as well. So basically, there's just a lot of big stuff coming through this too, where basically they were saying like, hey, like Alex was trying to say that like Celsius was really strong and it wasn't insolvent. And he's trying to say it wasn't actually a lie. And also they had other different things too, saying about like the APA with Keyfi. And he said there's even like performance obligations apparently too. There's just like, it's basically a mess where it doesn't seem like there's a really good, proper, like stating everything one by one contract. And on the fact that they even have this type of stuff, it just shows that, like, it's just a mess. Like, they don't even know how much Keyfi owes. They don't necessarily know where these assets are. It's just not seeming good at the end of the day. So, yeah. So basically, it was also meant to be like also a counter. What's the word for it? Like a hedge, where they were basically trying to do risky investments, let Celsius know on the opposite, so they can kind of take like a countermeasure. So if they lose 80% in one, they can maybe still gain 50% in the other to have a good counter manage as well. They're also saying that Keyfi didn't seem like it was actually profitable too. On top of this, they had an awful like system where they never actually recorded these trading activities. They were meant to, but they just never did. So once again, people from Celsius are like, what is going on here? They could maybe assume they were making money, but they never know because they never got the actual documentation too as well. They also said that they never witnessed a discussion where there was meant to be in lieu of profit shares too as well. He also didn't know that there was actually a conversation between Keyfi too. Also, if I'm talking quick, I'm just trying to get through it. You know, there's a lot of stuff over here. So apparently there's meetings too as well about with risk management too. They're trying their best to go get some more information on it as well. There was apparently a credit line for $100 million from Keyfi based from, I'm assuming, Celsius as well. They were questioning the profitability, and they're trying to go reference some like Slack messages and stuff like this. But one of the bigger things is they did mention that Celsius tokens were bought on open market with consumer funds. Now, we didn't know that Celsius was buying on the open market, but we never knew it was actually from the consumer funds. I mean, now we could probably assume, but now we actually have like a proper court document stating that it was from consumer funds. more so to prop up the Cell token too as well. Now, they also mentioned too that he was aware for CryptoPunks being bought from Stone prior to his departure from Celsius as well, and they were used as a payment for some like profit sharing, and it's basically using consumer funds to go get these NFTs being bought as well. And apparently Connor even knew about a hole in early 2021, which made him go and leave Celsius in the first place too. They're also saying once again that NFTs were not discussed with Alex, that they didn't actually necessarily fully know to as well, and at the same time too, they never really had a written or oral statement with Alex where they authorized these purchases or advances in profit sharing. So it does kind of seem like this Keyfi person was trying to go and steal stuff and take stuff from the company. Now, we don't necessarily still know the full amount, but it would be really nice for them to see in the first place because, well, if they somehow have like $300 million, guess what? That can go quite a big way to help filling the hole for all these creditors at the end of the day. So a lot of it's basically saying that they're saying that Alex, who's meant to have a profit sharing, at this point, like they don't have a proper, really, really good contract to as well. Apparently, there's also other documentation too as well, stating that there's like $15 million taken off the platform. Like, there's just so much stuff. He even says here, there's a big one. He believes that there be some message where early profit share authorization were given, but he couldn't find and locate anything. Like, come on. Like, it just seems even worse, too, as well. He also did go apparently pay back 100 Ethereum, but even off top of these transfer columns over here was at least 3,000 more Ethereum that is owed to on top of that one. He can't find a written consent on any of these transfers, too, saying Celsius wasn't big on paper, too, as well. He's apparently paying legal fees with some of these funds, which, I mean, it's bad enough that Celsius is. This is some random person at this point who now may have stolen millions of dollars. And as well, apparently there's also been either Ethereum transfers after he left with almost $11 million in Ethereum, NFTs, and ERC20, so just general coins as well. And also was using the stuff through Tornado Cash on top of this. And then saying he doesn't even have these funds anymore in some way, shape, and form, that their co-founders spent the money on cars and house down payments as well. And he didn't even declare it on his tax returns. This is ridiculous. Mainly saying that like the Keyfi accounts lost from 30 to 40,000 Ethereum, never filed this for his taxes, and this Keyfi person seems worse than all these Celsius executives. So it's like a little update on this hearing for today. We'll maybe see more stuff coming the next few days, but didn't seem like Judge Glenn was even supporting this at the end of the day, and I'm not blaming him because this looks even worse. Now, in theory, I don't know how we can get the money back or what's going to happen with this case as more information develops, but an extra 40,000 Ethereum coming back to creditors would be very, very nice, to say the least. But yeah, a lot of big stuff, Ponzi stuff coming out now too as well. We'll have to wait for the examiner's report, and just everything is all being crazy. So if you guys like it, leave a like or subscribe if you guys want. A lot of talking too, but I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.